presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Black. We are Florida.
There are three things you've got to do to win games. Got to score runs. Last two nights, the Fish have done it early and often. You've got to throw strikes. How about back-to-back shutouts by Ricky Nolasco and Josh Johnson? You got to stay focused on defense. This year, the Marlins have improved themselves defensively. Added up, you get a 10-6 start. Tonight, we focus on defense with a special guest, and not to mention the Marlins and the Pirates. Baseball tonight in South Florida. Final game of a three-game series. And the first two have had the same script. Marlins score early, great starting pitching, and a 6-0 shutout win. That was the story in game one. That was the story in game two. This would be game three. The Marlins with a little bit of a patchwork lineup. She will not be starting on the mound. It will be Chris Volstad, but that's the ceremonial first pitch nonetheless. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. Marlins, another win last night, Tommy, but the news today was not good. Logan Morrison may be on the shelf for between 2 to 4 weeks.
I'll tell you what, it's tough when you miss a left-handed bat. Most importantly, a guy hitting .327, leading the club in home runs and RBIs. Lomo the other night, coming out of the box, a tweak in that instep. It does not look good. We'll have a definite answer after the game, but we could be without Lomo for 2 or 3 weeks. It really does something to the lineup, but you know what? Everybody else has to step up. So now it's time for Hanley Ramirez, Mike Stanton to pick things up, Omar Infante a little bit, and see what they can do.
The Marlins outfield obviously was a focus in spring training with Coughlin in center, Stanton and Ryan Morrison in left. Now what happens to the outfield?
Well, you're going to see Scott Cousins a little bit more. We're going to see him tonight starting in center field. Chris Coughlin gets tonight out. It's his second start of the year. And how about Bonifacio? You can put Bonnie anywhere. We know that. Well, tonight he's in left field, so he can play just about anywhere. He'll be in that outfield. And Mike Stanton, we mentioned him earlier with his 6 doubles. Boy, he rang one off the right field wall last night, and he's getting close to putting it together. And they definitely need Mike Stanton right now.
And the Marlins tonight go for a sweep over the Pittsburgh Pirates. A terrific way to open the homestand so far. Great pitching performances from Josh Johnson and Ricky Nolasco. When we get back, a little more info on Lomo as the Marlins and the Pirates get ready to go.
much, Rich. And it's certainly not the best news the Marlins could have gotten with Logan Morrison today. The MRI revealing a sprain, and it looks like he could be headed to the DL. We'll get the team word on it after the game, but this is how we greeted Logan today. Cast on there. He did put the pinstripes on to really feel like a Marlin, and he gave us the update on that MRI with the crazy name of this tendon in his foot that's sprained.
I got diagnosed this morning with a Liz Frank sprain. So I have a girl tendon sprain in my ankle, which is about right. He's hopeful that Monday I can resume baseball activities. And as far as like hitting, probably not hitting because twisting, he said, is going to be like the last thing. So probably running, maybe fly balls straight ahead, straight at me. Nobody wants to go on the DL.
They're going to take the cast off on Monday and then see. Now, the Marlins are in a spot here because that'll be, you go back a couple of days, about a week to no baseball at all. So do they want to go for the next 3-5 games without him and see before they DL him, or will they make the decision tonight just to put him on the disabled list? They'll be off for 2 weeks at a minimum and then bring somebody up to be on the bench. That's a decision the team that I'm sure they're going to be talking about tonight, and apparently we'll get some word after the game. You'd think when you look at the cast on there and they want to keep him off, that early here in the year, in April, maybe the right thought would be to put him on the DL, but we'll just have to wait and see after the game. For one thing for sure is we won't see him at least until next week at the very earliest, and maybe not even on the road trip when they take off for Cincy and St. Louis next Thursday. Up next, the Marlins going for a sweep. Emilio Bonifacio will play left field tonight. Cousins gets the starting center. Rich and Tommy will have the call next.
Florida is brought to you by Toyota, moving forward, by AT&T, by Checkers, little place, big taste, and by All Year Cooling. Today's comfort, yesterday's prices. All right, let's do this now. The Pirates and the Marlins. Chris Volstad finishing off his warm-up tosses. This is the lineup that he faces. The Pirates came into this series at an even 500. They're 2 under now, 8-10. And Andrew McCutchen is back, which is good news for the Pirates. McCutchen missed last night's ball game with family issues. Jose Tabata is in left field. Lyle Overbay is at first base. Neil Walker, the second baseman. Garrett Jones, the powerfully built right fielder. Pedro Alvarez, the third baseman. Chris Snyder behind the plate. Josh Rodriguez, a Rule 5 draft pick at short. And James McDonald will hit ninth.
Well, Rich, because of that rain out in Philadelphia, the starting rotation was juggled a little bit, so it's been a week since Chris Volstad has been out there. He's worked on some things. A good start, that's what he needs to do.
First pitch, a strike, and here is McCutchen. McCutchen, of course, a Florida native, a terrific athlete. Out of Fort Meade, Florida. Had some family issues he had to tend to yesterday. Had to return home, but is back with the ball club. 1-1 pitch, breaking ball, lined into left field. Bonifacio! Well, that segues nicely into the defensive portion of our first inning.
Well, we've talked about Lomo and his injury, so Bonifacio is going to get some time in left field, and he starts off with a nice play. Scott Cousins with his second start this year in center, Mike Stanton in right, Greg Dobbs and Hanley on the left side, Infante and Gabby over on the right side, and Brett Hayes with a start behind the plate.
Well, the Marlins have grown accustomed to great starting pitching in this series. 7 shutout innings from Ricky Nolasco and from Josh Johnson in their starts. Tabata takes outside. You could hear Sam Holbrook behind home plate. Greg Gibson, Todd Titchener, and Jerry Davis are out on the bases. Tabata, the talented young Venezuelan, he's 22. Volstad misses in with a running sinker. Originally in the Yankees organization. Told you last night the Pirates got him way back in the Xavier Nady trade. Dobbs far to his left, wings it across in time.
So much of Greg Dobbs improving at third base has been with the footwork, and it's something he's worked on a lot with Perry Hill.
And I think in a start like tonight with Chris Volstad, the focus on the defense is a must, especially in the infield. And we will have John DeHaan, the author of the Fielding Bible and one of the preeminent Sabre mathematicians on defense, as our live guest during the game. Liner, left center. Don't worry, Bonifacio makes the catch. Just like that, 8-pitch inning. Nice start. Pirates, Marlins, and Pirates. Here's the Fish lineup. First night off for Chris Coughlin, so Emilio Bonifacio leads it off with Omar Infante and Hanley Ramirez to follow. Gabby Sanchez, Greg Dobbs is back at third, back in the 5 spot. Mike Stanton 6th, Scott Cousins in center. Brett Hayes, his second start of the season, and Chris Volstad hits 9th. And here is Bonifacio, who has 5 hits in the series, and McDonald misses outside. It's 1-0.
You know, the other thing amazing about Bonifacio, we talk about the many positions he plays. You can also put him in a lot of different spots in the order. And tonight with Chris Coughlin not in the lineup, just getting a night off, Bonifacio slides into that leadoff spot.
Bonifacio slid in hard at home last night in a terrific daring do of base running when he scored from second on that infield single by Chris Coughlin. He's behind in the count now 1-2. And the dynamics of the lineup changed by the Logan Morrison injury. If you've just joined us,
2 to 3 weeks in all probability. He's got a cast on his foot right now. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Bonifacio goes down. And the fact that Edwin is using tonight as a night to give a couple of guys a well-deserved night off. Chris Coughlin's first night off, and John Buck gets the night off as well.
And they get the right-hander, James McDonald, the 26-year-old. He was actually drafted in the 11th round by the Dodgers back in '02. He has good stuff. The Marlins have seen him before. One start, he appeared in another game out of the bullpen, but he can get wild. See the walks and strikeouts, even 9-9. But a good fastball, good breaking ball, and a good changeup.
Infante takes a fastball for a strike. Omar trying to pull out of an early season slump. We showed you last night. That's kind of the way he started last year. He had a slow April and then finished third in the National League in hitting. 1 for 3 last night. He had a big hit, a single in that 4-run second. That led to the excellent adventure of Ricky Nolasco around the bases. A stop at third to say hello to Joe Espada, and then a ballerina move to step on the plate, tuck and roll with a big run in that second inning. 1-1 coming. Fastball's up. It's 2-1.
McDonald, Rich, is the type of pitcher that you have to try to be patient against, because as I mentioned before, he can get wild.
These two teams don't play each other a lot, the Marlins and the Pirates. In fact, standard schedule in the National League means you play one road series and one home series against an opponent, but it always seems that the Marlins get the Pirates early in April and then later on in the year, maybe in August or September. But it was late last year that McDonald and Volstad matched up. And of course that game was in Pittsburgh, which means the Pirates won because it seems like the Pirates win all the games in Pittsburgh and the Marlins win all the games here in South Florida.
Yeah, it was a 7-1 win back on August 16th.
3-2 coming to Infante. Reaches out, sends a soft fly ball to right. That's Garrett Jones territory. Jones makes the catch. Here's the Pirates defensively.
All right, we've talked about a little bit of everything. Here's the defense. Tabata, Andrew McCutchen back in the lineup. Garrett Jones. McCutchen can cover a lot of ground in center. Alvarez and Josh Rodriguez. Rodriguez getting his first start in this series. Neil Walker, Lyle Overbay on the right side. Chris Snyder, the veteran, is behind the plate. So Josh Rodriguez out of Rice University.
Here is Hanley now, and I think the focus will be on Hanley a little bit more. In the absence of Logan Morrison, we've talked about it over the last week, in that Hanley is yet to hit a home run. Mike Stanton is yet to hit a home run. Gabby Sanchez, Logan Morrison, kind of the on-base twins in the middle of the lineup. Hanley fouls it back.
Hanley's last home run was September 6th, last year against Roy Oswalt in Philadelphia.
Hanley in this series, 1 for 6. Drove a ball to right field in last night's ball game. That drove in a run. McDonald's 1-1. It's 1-2.
96 on that last fastball. A good swing by Hanley. Just fouled it straight back. But there's no question, James McDonald has good stuff.
Originally drafted by the Dodgers and played his first 3 seasons in the Dodgers organization as a pitcher and an outfielder. They weren't quite sure which one they wanted him to do. Check swing. And it's a foul tip. So the count stays at 1-2. Eventually they decided on pitcher. And he spent parts of 3 seasons with the Dodgers, 2008 through 2010, then was dealt to the Pirates last year in the Octavio Dotel trade. And pitched well at times for the Pirates. His ERA last year in 11 starts for Pittsburgh was 3.52. And he snaps off a nasty breaking ball and strikes out Hanley. 1, 2, 3 go the Pirates. 1, 2, 3 go the Marlins.
disponible en español oprimiendo el botón del zap.
Good night to be at the ballpark. Marlins and Pirates. Neil Walker, Garrett Jones, Pedro Alvarez scheduled to appear in that order for the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are off to a better start than I think a lot of people expected. The Pirates came roaring into this series. Volstad misses down low, having won 3 road series against quality opponents. The Cardinals, the Reds, 2 very good offensive teams, and the Cubs. They won only 4 road series all of last year, but they've run into Josh Johnson and Ricky Nolasco and some Marlin relievers, and they've not scored a run in the series. Pop down the line, Bonifacio covers a lot of ground out there, and already he's made 3 catches in left field. The weather, as Tommy Hutton pointed out, can't be any better for baseball in South Florida. All year cooling, bringing you our weather.
Cannot be better. Bonifacio is playing left field. We know he can play right. He's made a couple of great throws from right field this year. And we know he can cover tons of ground in center field.
And, of course, it was Bonifacio who started that great relay throw last night, hooking up with Hanley Ramirez and John Buck to make it a shutout for Ricky Nolasco and Edward Mujica, who worked the last 2 innings. Here's Garrett Jones.
So to add to the Bonifacio resume, remember a couple of years ago he was the opening day third baseman. He can play short, and he told Craig his favorite position is second base.
See, that's one of the questions I have for John DeHaan, who's going to be on our telecast live about the 5th or the 6th inning. He's the author of the Fielding Bible, and he's one of the guys that gives out those Fielding Bible awards. Here's the 1-2, and a swing and a miss. Volstad gets a strike. Here's the play. It's one of the things I want to ask John DeHaan. How do you sabermetrically measure a play like this?
It's a good pick in the corner. It's an accurate throw to the cutoff man, and then Hanley does the rest with his perfect throw. That's a good question. Yeah, I want to hear his answer.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, if you've ever opened the Fielding Bible, and it's updated every year. That one misses outside. They quantify all kinds of stuff. They're getting, the last 4 years, statistics defensively have come a long, long ways. I don't think they're there completely where you can see the entirety of a player's defensive value.
Rich, I don't think they'll ever be there completely, because I think in this game there are too many intangibles.
But I think they're getting close.
Yeah.
Here's the 2-0 pitch. That ball is cranked right field and deep, and Pedro Alvarez has just knocked that one in the seats.
Boy, it had been a struggle the last 3 games for Pedro Alvarez. He was 0 for 9. So the youngster out of Vanderbilt hit a no-doubter off Chris Volstad.
Boy, he loaded up and just hammered that ball.
Well, he had 16 home runs in 95 games last year. Look at how that ball drifted from the inner part right over to the middle part of the plate, and he crushed it.
So Chris Snyder comes up now, the Pirates catcher, who was 1 for 3 last night. Ryan Domit started in game 1. Snyder got the start last night, and Volstad snaps off a breaking ball for a strike. Veteran catcher, long time with the Diamondbacks. A running fastball that misses inside. He sends it to left field. Bonifacio is there, makes the catch. Pedro Alvarez gives the Pirates their first lead of this series. with Joe Espada, Marlins outfield coach, John Duhan of the Fielding Bible. Last year, the top 4 defensive teams by fielding percentage in the National League. You see the Padres, the Reds, the Giants, and the Phillies. Obviously, very successful seasons last year.
That tells the story right there.
And the Marlins were in the basement. However, this year, the Marlins are right in the middle. They are 8th. So they are moving out of the basement, moving up, not in the penthouse yet, but at least they're on a floor with a view, a garden view at this point.
Well, it tells you, and that graphic shows you the importance all those teams in playoffs or close to the playoffs. You know, that home run, by the way, stops an opportunity for the Marlins to put together 3 consecutive shutouts. Last time they did it was April of '04 when they were in Puerto Rico. Shut out the Montreal Expos 3 straight games.
What a bummer of a trip for the Expos that must have been.
That was in '04. Then in '05, they also shut out San Diego twice and the Dodgers once to have 3 in a row.
Of course, the Expos were probably at that point playing a home series in Puerto Rico, so it wasn't like a 3-game trip for them, right?
That's right. So now's a chance for the Marlins to do. You were talking about the way the Pirates have been playing on the road, the opponents they've been playing. The Marlins, over their last 6 games, have gone 5-1. They've outscored their opponents 29-12.
Gabby runs the count full now, 3-2.
Now, McDonald dropped a beauty of a curveball to strike out Hanley. If he has command of that pitch, he'll be real tough tonight. See what he throws Gabby, 3-2.
Fastball, and Gabby pulls it foul. Gabby in the cleanup spot. That change made a couple days ago with Mike Stanton sliding to the 6th position. In Logan Morrison's absence, Edwin has started Greg Dobbs at 3rd base to get that left-handed bat in the middle. And Dobbs is hitting 5th again tonight.
You know, the other thing, Rich, we've talked about the absence of Logan Morrison. The last time the Marlins hit a home run was the first game in that series in Philadelphia, and it was Logan Morrison.
Gabby has just a home run this year. Certainly focused on Hanley and Stanton. 3-2's outside, and Gabby draws a leadoff walk. Baker Concrete Super Saturday's coming up on the 23rd, this Saturday, when the Rockies are here. El Gran Combo de Puerto Rico, presented by Miccosukee Resort and Gaming. Marlins take on the Rockies at 7:10, 1-877-MARLINS, or go to marlins.com and lock in your seats for Super Saturday with El Gran Combo de Puerto Rico. Tommy and I, whenever El Gran Combo is here, we're wrapping up the postgame show as they start, and we start dancing in the booth. The start of their show, always a good shot in the arm. McDonald misses inside. Greg Dobbs, you see his season numbers. He has been terrific as a pinch hitter. And with the injury to Donnie Murphy and the necessity to have a left-handed bat in there, he's seeing more starts. And that probably will continue for the next couple of weeks, because it looks like Logan Morrison will be unavailable at least for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and you certainly need that offense, and you need that left-handed bat, I think, in the lineup. And the Rockies come to town, and over the weekend they'll have 4 or 3 right-handers in the rotation for that 3-game series.
2 very good ones in Game 1 and Game 3, Chacin and Jimenez. 1-1 coming to Dobbs. You made a good point earlier in talking about Dobbs defensively. So much of what he did in spring training offensively, that obviously helped him make the club. But working with Perry Hill has allowed Edwin to put him out at 3rd base. He's improved his footwork. He looks a little more stable out there at 3rd base.
Yeah, remember in spring training we saw him a little bit at 1st base. We saw him a couple games in the outfield.
1-2 misses outsides 2-2. Yeah,
so
because
if his defense improves, he'll even find more playing time.
There's Perry Hill, first base coach and infield guru. We'll get John DeHaan's take on Perry Hill, who has tutored many Gold Glove winners. That's what the Fielding Bible Awards are. Essentially, are the gold. It's like the Gold Glove winners, as selected by a panel of I think 10. Bill James is on that panel. Rob Nyer's on that panel. John DeHaan and others. And they use all the latest statistics and the eyeball test as well. And Dobbs rolls it into center field, the base hit. So a walk to Gabby. Dobbs with a single. And here comes Mike Stanton.
Got a couple of men on, nobody out. Here's an opportunity to get back, tie the game, maybe take the lead. Another solid swing by Greg Dobbs, who is thinking up the middle the other way. We've seen him get a lot of base hits just like that. And I think the more he gets an opportunity to play, we may even see a little more power mixed in, too.
Mike Stanton drove one off the top of the wall in right center field last night. He also doubled off the top of the wall in left field in game 1 of the series. And McDonald starts him with a fastball for a strike. Two Southern California guys meeting up here. McDonald is from Long Beach, California. And of course, Stanton, Notre Dame High School in Sherman Oaks in the LA area. Speaking of LA, the Dodgers came from behind to tie their game against the Braves with a run in the bottom of the 9th and then won it in the bottom of the 12th
on a Matt Kemp home run.
Former Marlin Christian Martinez. Stanton takes inside.
Well, the Dodgers go to 10-10 and the Braves go to 8-12.
Dodgers following the Rockies. Two very good opponents coming this way, especially Colorado.
Listening to a little bit of the Dodger broadcast on the way to the ballpark today, they were bemoaning their road trip. They go to Chicago after today's game where it's freezing cold, and then they'll make a stop here in South Florida where it's absolutely perfect.
3-1 to Mike Stanton. Great hitters count. Got Scott Cousins on deck.
Boy, this is where, if you're Mike Stanton right now, you have to really zone in on a fastball in your area. If it's in another area, you have to try to stay away from it. This is your count right here, 3-1.
Fastball, had a rip at it.
Out over the plate, it might have been a little too far away, but it was okay. He was able to get good extension. He just swung through it.
Let's see if McDonald throws him something straight again on 3-2. Fastball, and that one was back over the plate, and Mike missed it. It stays at 3-2.
We talked about McDonald. He can get a little iffy in that strike zone, and he's gone full count to 3 of the last 5 batters.
Runners on the move, and it's ball 4.
I like the little aggressiveness by Edwin Rodriguez. You have a guy up there who is a potential strikeout batter in Mike Stanton, but he sent the runners. He had the runners on the move, and it was a breaking ball. It wasn't a fastball, and Stanton had a good at bat.
So it's Cousins who makes his second start of the year, and he finds himself in his first at bat with the bases loaded and nobody out. Drives one to right field. That's deep.
Scott Cousins!
That's gone!
That's Scott Cousins!
Grand slam!
Oh, wow!
First pitch fastball, and he jumped all over it. And he brought my partner right out of his seat.
Welcome to the lineup, Scott Cousins.
His first Major League home run is a grand slam.
What a way to break the seal.
Here's Brett Hayes.
I gotta yell. If there aren't a lot of people here tonight on this gorgeous night, somebody's gotta yell.
I'm not complaining.
Right in the zone and a beautiful swing.
Hayes, a line drive into left center field. That's a base hit. That's extra bases. And Brett Hayes has started this year 5 for 7.
Brett Hayes making just his second start, or his third start. He started 2 times. Every time he's in the lineup, he's produced. He has a 4-game hitting streak now, and as you mentioned, Rich, he's 5 out of his last 7. And it's our checkers double of the game. He finds that slot in left center field. And all the decisions that Edwin has made for this lineup tonight so far paying off beautifully.
So he's 5 for 7, and 3 of the 5 hits, as you saw, are doubles. And Ray Searage, the pitching coach for the Pirates, is out. But James McDonald looked dynamite in the first inning. He struck out Bonifacio. He struck out Hanley. But Gabby Sanchez worked that leadoff walk. Craig Dobbs poked one into center. Stanton battled on a 3-2 count. He got a walk. Scott Cousins, the first ball he faced, he put in the seats in right field.
You know, he had that perfect situation. He knew he had a pitcher out there that had struggled throwing strikes. He knew he was probably going to get a fastball. You still have to hit it. You still have to be ready for it. And he was.
Volstad's bunt. McDonald goes to third, and it's in time. And so the Pirates get Hayes on the Chris Volstad sacrifice attempt. The Dan Patrick Show on FSN. Exclusive guests, including high-profile athletes and celebrities, breaking sports news, unparalleled insider access, pop culture commentary. It's the Dan Patrick Show with the Danettes. Weekdays, 9 a.m. on FSN. Bonifacio slashes one foul.
Well, it's a good way to respond, too, after the mammoth home run hit by Alvarez to put the Pirates up 1-0.
One and one. Volstad's at first. Ouch. Bonifacio hit in the elbow. The Marlins can ill afford to lose anybody else at this point.
Put him on that back elbow, the left elbow. And you're right, not in a position to lose anybody else.
Here comes Infante now. Clint Hurdle obviously is hoping that McDonald can pull it together. He had to go to his bullpen early last night. He got 2 brilliant innings from Chris Resop, who was off to an outstanding start for the Pirates, the former Marlin. Infante, line drive, base hit center field. Volstad did not get a great jump. Joe Espada will hold them. And so the bags are loaded, and here comes Hanley.
Starting to see, and we saw a little bit of it last night, much better swings from Omar Infante. What we saw all spring when he hit right around 400. A little shorter, a little quicker.
best pitch James McDonald has thrown tonight was that 2-strike breaking ball that Hanley took for strike 3 to finish the first. Soft ground ball to third. Got it out there. The turn, safe. And good hustle by Hanley. Gives himself an RBI and gives Chris Volstad another run. Nicely done.
It's a little example of how speed can help. We saw that last night in Bonifacio scoring from second on an infield base hit. Hanley right there showing his speed up the line, and because of that the Pirates are unable to turn the double play.
So it's back to where it started with Gabby Sanchez. 5 runs across for the Fish here in the second. And Hanley's running on the pitch. The throw down to second. He is safe. Second stolen base for Hanley this year.
Yeah, don't waste any time. Hanley didn't. I think Gabby took that pitch all the way because Hanley was on the move. Exmo. Hanley gets the foot on the bag as Walker swipes back with the tag a little bit too late.
Changeup misses down low. Gabby was trying to hit that one up over Joe Robbie's name.
"32 pitches this inning for James McDonald.
You don't often see Gabby swing at a pitch that far out of the zone. And it's 1-2. Look at that. Show Fox Tracks again if you can. Look at where that pitch was on Fox Tracks. Can we see it? Well, we're having issues with it. The pitch was so far off the radar, it's crashed Fox Tracks. That breaking ball misses outside. All right, here it is. Look at that. I mean, if he doesn't foul it off, it may hit him. Gabby figures, I got my walk this inning. Now I want a base hit.
He had a good at bat when he started things with that walk, too.
And he takes that one, misses inside. So the count's full now. Hanley's at second.
Gabby getting geared up for Saturday night. University of Miami night here at the ballpark.
Bonifacio's at third, 3-2. Changeup, got him. McDonald screams into his glove. And the Marlins put a big crooked number up on the first career homer of Scott Cousins. It's a grand slam. The grand slam, 5-1 Fish. As we arrive in the third. This copyright telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced, retransmitted in any form. Accounts, descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Marlins. You're supposed to fit that in between pitches, so you got to read quickly.
Yeah, if you have a guy working quickly, that's tough. So you did a good job there.
Thank you. Rodriguez, a Rule 5 draft pick from the Cleveland Indians. As Tommy pointed out, from a very good baseball school.
Seems like all the kids coming out of Rice, though, are pitchers.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, this one's a shortstop, and he's a Houston native.
Of course, Lance Berkman wasn't too bad out of there either.
That's true.
Yeah.
He had a very good year in the minors. It's amazing that the Indians are off to a terrific start this year. Left him exposed off their 40-man. Between AA and AAA last year, he hit .303 and stole 30 bases. He strikes out here, and Volstad gets the first out of the third inning.
I think very important, and Chris has a great opportunity because he has the 8-hitter and then the pitcher in the top of the order. But a great opportunity for Chris to come back, have a nice 1-2-3 inning after being handed a lead. 5 runs, the biggest inning the Marlins have had this year, scoring runs in an inning.
Now McDonald, as we told you at the outset of the telecast, he signed with the Dodgers and played the first few years in their minor league system as an outfielder and as a pitcher. That reminds me of one of the great quotes that have come out of this series. After the Game 1 performance of Josh Johnson, Clint Hurdle said, "Josh Johnson Little Leagued us last night." And when the reporter asked him, "What do you mean by that?" he said, "Well, he had the big hit, and then he went up on the mound and struck us out." He said that's what the studs did in Little League. They did it with the bat, and they were the guys that were the best pitchers as well.
You can just tell watching James McDonald that he at one time was a hitter.
It hasn't translated in the big leagues, though. He has just 2 career hits.
See what happens, you become a weak hitting outfielder turned pitcher, but now you become a good hitting pitcher.
There's some great hitters that have come out of his high school.
Not good right there.
No. Long Beach Poly in Long Beach has produced some, you can pick the best hitter in here, but it's, you think about it. The Gwynn brothers, Chris and Tony, Milton Bradley, and some guy named Chase Utley.
And you're not talking Long Beach State.
No, that's Long Beach Poly.
That's right. You're talking Long Beach Poly High School.
Here's McCutchen. He was a star at Fort Meade, 70 miles east of St. Pete. And the 11th overall pick in 2005, and he chose baseball. Wisely so. He had a very good rookie season. In fact, many people felt that he should have been the Rookie of the year that Chris Coughlin won, but Coughlin's numbers overwhelming. McCutchen had better defensive numbers.
I would like to ask our defensive guru about Andrew McCutchen, because he covers a lot of ground. It's an interesting center field too at his home ballpark at PNC. A lot of room, a lot of angles out there.
Similar to this one.
Yeah. And he is one of the best. Chris Young, Michael Bourne, their guys up there on that list.
Yeah. Chris Coughlin, it'll be another question we'll have for John DeHaan, how he's been able to measure Coughlin. I know it's early and it's not a big sample size, but we'll check in and see. The Marlins defense has improved to the point where they are in the middle of the pack in fielding percentage, 8th in the National League. Chopper down the line. Last year the Marlins defensively were near the very bottom. In fact, they were at the very bottom. They were tied for last with these Pirates, the Nationals, and the Cubs. So getting out of the basement and residing in the middle, that's not bad.
Kind of interesting when you think about that. Obviously, teams not finishing and going into the playoffs, but the Marlins had the best record of all those teams.
Yeah,
and the Cubs, the Nationals, the Pirates.
I mean, you look at last year's Marlin team and you say, if you could have improved the defense and the bullpen,
which has been greatly improved this year,
and that's obviously what the ball club tried to do in the offseason. Finally, Volstad gets him. Good sequence by Volstad.
I think that's what you really have to admire about the organization. They went out to do that this offseason to improve the bullpen and to improve the defense. So 5th most total in the National League with 123 errors.
But the fielding percentage was tied for last.
So it hasn't been real good since '06. Just the fact that Chris walked the pitcher is making him throw more pitches in this inning.
This inning, 41 in the ball game.
I think the good news is that the bullpen's in great shape. And if Edwin can get 5-6 innings out of Chris Volstad, he'll feel good about it, especially with the lead that he has now.
Tabata knocks that one foul. Mujica 2 innings last night. Mike Dunn and Brian Sanchez with scoreless innings on Tuesday. Of course, it was a day off on Monday after the Marlins finished up in Philadelphia on Sunday. Rockies here tomorrow night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon. Change up and a tapper. Infante is there, flips to first in time, and down go the Pirates. 5-1 Fish.
Hey, thank you very much, Rich. Thank you very much, Rich. I want to talk to you about first base coach of the Pirates, Luis Severio, who has moved down here to South Florida because his kids are very good baseball players. He was living in Kansas City coaching for the Royals, and now they're getting a chance to play, and they're quite good here in Parkland for Douglas High School. Luis and Louis. Louis is the senior. Luis is the sophomore. The center fielder, Lewis, hitting over 400, and he is going to go to a very good baseball school. I think you guys mentioned the other day on the air, and that's Indian River Community College. He's got a scholarship there. And Luis is just a sophomore hitting almost 300, and Lewis is over 400. Now, unfortunately, though, life of a baseball guy, they've got a game tonight. You can't see him. He hasn't seen him play, actually, since the fall last year. But that's how it goes. But he is happy they're in a good program down here, and they're pretty well known in the high school community already. They're playing some pretty good baseball. guys.
Yeah, Craig, he's one of the new guys on the Pirates staff. There are a couple holdovers from last year. Jeff Bannister, the bench coach, Ray Searage, the pitching coach, although they came on in the middle of last year. Remember when John Russell made some coaching changes during the season last year for the Pirates? Searage took over for Joe Kerrigan and Bannister for Gary Varsho. Nick Leyva,
Long-time baseball man,
baseball
manager.
He's the third base coach. Dobbs goes after a fastball and fouls it back. James McDonald into his third inning of work. The Marlins put 5 on the board in the second. The big blow, Scott Cousins. Grand slam on the first pitch he saw. After the Marlins had loaded the bases with nobody out, Dobbs rolls over on one, pulls it out to the second baseman. Walker flips to first.
Every once in a while, when McDonald is able to get in a count to utilize that changeup, makes a pretty good pitch, and got Greg Dobbs to roll over on that one.
Here comes Mike Stanton.
I thought a couple of key at-bats. Certainly the grand slam, but Gabby's walk to start the inning and Mike Stanton's walk. And eventually those two came in to score on the grand slam.
Mike had a 3-2 count and fouled off a couple of fastballs before he finally did walk. Breaking ball misses outside. We told you we have 2 guests to keep with our defense theme. Joe Espada was the infield coach last year, now the outfield coach this year. So he's a good guy to go to. And then John DeHaan, the author of the Fielding Bible, will be our guest live over the phone. Three ones. You get a fastball here?
That's his best pitch. I would think so.
It's outside, and Stanton has walked twice. Those are 2 good at bats. Good signs that Mike is not over anxious.
Sometimes when you get into that situation as a pitcher where you know the hitter's looking fastball and you know it's a fastball count, you try to overthrow it. You try to make too perfect of a pitch.
Now Cousins was in the ultimate fastball count. Bases loaded, nobody out. First pitch of the at bat after McDonald had walked 2 to help load the bases. And he jumped all over it, driving it out to right field.
Which brings up an interesting scenario.
All right.
Had he popped it up, everybody would have been saying, why did he swing at the first pitch? He'd walked a couple of men in the inning. He'd been struggling with his control. It's a great game.
McDonald shows him a changeup. Here is that first pitch fastball he got.
I think there's a lot of reasons you swing. You haven't been playing a whole lot, so you want to give a hitter a chance to succeed. He knows he's going to get that fastball. Scott Cousins is a good fastball hitter.
A Coors Light cold hard blast. He had the same swing, only this fastball was in under his hands.
Cousins had a game last year in AAA in Oklahoma City where he hit for the cycle.
Remember, his first major league hit was that walk-off single against the Braves after Logan Morrison had been hit in the face on the on-deck circle. Slicing line drive. That's going to do some damage. Into the corner it goes. Stanton ambling around second, on his way to third, and Cousins, speaking of cycles, has gone grand slam and double his first 2 ABs.
He's on his way, and I was just thinking when you talked about the Logan Morrison story, there's another nice swing as he takes an inside-out cut and slices that ball down the left field corner. But Lomo's kind of been Cousins' way to get in the lineup.
That's true. At Lomo's expense.
So 2 really nice swings and 2 different type swings.
Here's a guy that has really swung the bat well, but just can't seem to get himself in the lineup, and that's Brett Hayes. He has doubled tonight. He's 5 for 7. He's hitting .714, and the infield's in. He fouls it back.
Well, he has the. It takes a special kind to be a backup catcher, because you're not going to be in the lineup all the time, but you're expected to handle the staff well when you get in and handle a pitcher, handling Chris Volstad tonight. So he has the right demeanor for this role. I think over the years, the Marlins really have been blessed to have some good backup catchers. You go back to Mike Redmond and Matt Trainer and guys like that. They have the right mentality for that role.
Oh, it's so valuable for a ball club. You see why the Atlanta Braves have signed David Ross to a multi-year contract. That's almost unheard of for a backup catcher. Hayes, left field, deep, gone! 3-run shot.
That'll help the demeanor.
Have a year, Brett Hayes. He is 6 for his first 8, 3 doubles, and now a 3-run homer.
Oh, what a night for the guys who don't play every night. That is a great feeling. He got the breaking ball, but this wasn't that real sharp one. Look at it, kind of floats middle of the zone, and Brett Hayes was all over it.
Here's Volstad. It is 8-1.
Brett Hayes hit a couple last year, so his 3rd Major League home run.
Daniel McCutchen up in the Pirates bullpen. Slow tapper, Alvarez throws out Volstad. 2 outs here in the 3rd. The Dodgers are coming Monday through Wednesday of next week. Visit your local Subway for the Subway Monday $5 bullpen box voucher. In Tuesday's edition of the Miami Herald, you can find a 2 for Tuesday offer. So there's no excuse to not come out and see the Dodgers and the Marlins on a Monday or a Tuesday, or even that Wednesday afternoon. 1-877 Marlins, the number to call. Here's Bonifacio, fastball strike.
And no excuses, especially if the weather stays this way, and I think it is.
Bonifacio lines one to right field. Garrett Jones is on and makes the catch. Some unlikely heroes tonight. How about a grand slam from Scott Cousins? How about a 3-run homer from Brett Hayes? And they have powered the Fish to an 8-1 start. couple of bats a week. But Brett Hayes has done that this year. Hayes with a double and a 3-run homer is now 6 for 8. And on a night where we're talking defense, and we bring Joe Espada onto the show, it's been an outburst of offense for the Fish. But Joe can tell us about this nice play by Infante going to his backhand. Hi, Joe. How are you?
Hey, fellas. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good. How about the smoothness that we've seen all spring and early in the year of Omar Infante at second base?
It's hard work, man. Since day one in spring training, these guys are really working really hard on their defense. They understand how important it is for us to play through October, man. They know how important it is.
He doesn't make it look hard, though, Joe. That's the thing about Infante.
Not at all, you know. And he doesn't say much, so it's like hard to get, you know, a read from him. You know, was it a tough play or, you know, it's. But he works hard and he knows what's Bone trying to do with him in the infield positioning, and man, it's been fun to watch him play.
All right, we better hurry up because we've only got you for half an inning and there's already 2 outs. Let's start with Coghlan in center field.
Right.
What have you seen in the first 2 weeks?
You know what? I seen a kid playing with a lot of confidence. He's preparing himself really well prior to the series, just going through scouting reports, just going over position and watching some film. And then when he takes the field, he feels like he's prepared just to let his ability take over. And that's what he's doing, and very pleased with the way he's playing center and helping the other 2 guys to the corners, you know, helping them out too.
The communication between Coghlan, Morrison, and Stanton, I know that was something that you guys were really concerned about in the spring.
And it's been really good just because Coghlan's taking charge. You know, he's like, you know what, Joe, I understand I'm a center fielder. I'm the man in charge out here. Give me that responsibility, and I'm going to make sure I move those guys over and stuff like that. And right now it's been great. You know, and those kids did not play at all together in spring training, so pleased with the first couple of weeks, and hopefully we can carry this through.
1-1 pitch coming.
And how nice is it, Joe, to have a guy like Scott Cousins who can play all 3 outfield spots tremendously.
Great athlete. He's been working really hard doing BP. He understands his role on the team. That's important. He understands what he needs to do to help the team win games. So I'm happy that he's out there and contributing offensively, too.
Hey, the next inning goes this fast, we'll have you on again.
All right, fellas.
Way to go, Joe.
All right, man.
All right. Joe Espada helping us out there. Chris Volstad as well. Tested and proven to be the best trucks we've ever built. Ram. By T-Mobile, America's largest 4G network. And by Nissan. Get to a Nissan dealer for great deals on innovation you can count on. Innovation for all. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton, Craig Minervini, John Solsa, our producer, Jim Hawley, our director, Ken Lee, our critically acclaimed graphics coordinator. Please welcome Daniel McCutcheon to the telecast. He comes out of the bullpen for the Pirates and takes over for James McDonald. The Marlins have put 8 runs up on some big hits. The grand slam by Scott Cousins, the 3-run homer by Brett Hayes, The Fish, who lead the majors in double, have 2 more tonight, and it's Cousins and Hayes that have those doubles. Here's Infante. He's flied out and singled.
And we're getting our first look at Daniel McCutchen out of the bullpen, so that's all for James McDonald.
How about the 7-pitch inning for Joe Espada?
That was outstanding.
Infante takes outside. Although Claude Delorme last night had a 5-pitch inning.
But Claude was able to stay around. He didn't have to go out and coach third base.
Yeah, Joe has to go to work. Claude spends all day working and then was able to come to the booth. We had over 850 emails last night. And I know that it's frustrating if you send an email in and we don't get to every individual one. We have the process. Our crack staff oftentimes gets 15 to 20 emails on a certain subject, and they'll send 1 or 2 of those along. And in a game last night that took, what, 2 hours and 25 minutes or whatever it was?
2:22, I think.
And especially having all the video of the new ballpark, having Claude on, we tried to get to as many as we could. So we appreciate your patience, and we certainly appreciate the community of Marlin fans that participates on the email Wednesday last night, normally on Tuesdays. And
you know, we threw the fans a little curveball, and we threw them a hanger because they reacted very well.
But the thing that always it reminds our production staff, it reminds Tommy, you and I in the booth, is that people watch these games from all over, not just all over the country, but all over the world, on the MLB.TV, on the Extra Innings package, on their phones, on their iPads, on their mobile devices. We get emails from Montana, North Dakota, Maine,
Palm Beach Gardens,
Texas.
Where Chris Volstad is from.
That's right. Infante taps it towards third. Alvarez across the diamond in time. Trivia time. In fact, last night our emailers even sent in an alternative trivia question. Who's the only Pirate to be voted National League Rookie of the Year? This is an AT&T trivia question.
You know what? A name just popped into my head. I'm going to hold it, because there have been some great Pirates over the years.
I think it's a modern-day Pirate.
And I'm thinking the name now that popped into my head is probably incorrect, but it did pop into my head.
Were you going back as far as what, Clemente?
I was going 70s or 80s, I think.
Madlock?
It's a good choice. Rennie Stennett, it's a good choice. Always a favorite, Ed Ott.
Was Madlock a Pirate before a Cub? That's a baseball reference. Quick look up
Madlock,
there.
a couple of batting titles. I'll tell you the name I was thinking about.
Okay.
Johnny Ray.
That is a good name.
Switch hitting second baseman.
Speedy guy. Madlock was he was a Texas Ranger before he was anything. A Ranger, a Cub. He was a Giant for a couple of years, and then a Pirate. Hanley sprays one over to the right side. Neil Walker, who had a fine rookie season last year, throws him out. All right, let's see if Johnny Ray, the good old Johnny Ray, is the answer.
I don't think it is. But
no, I'm going modern day Jason Bay.
Jason Bay. You don't have to go back too far. 2004. I was reading the other day where the Mets are hoping that soon Jason Bay will be back. And they need all the help they can get right now. I think it was an oblique that has kept him out of the lineup.
And he, of course, battled the concussion at the tail end of last year.
It's been a rough go for Jason Bay as a Met.
Gabby gets into that one, drills it down the line. That will be extra bases. Around first he goes. Tabata picks it up, and Gabby has a double, his 5th double of the season.
Steady Gabby Sanchez. That's the way he's been.
That's the funny thing about Gabby, is that he never has a big slump, and he never has one of those real tears. you just look up and he's hitting 300 and he's putting doubles in the gas.
Yeah, and he's continued that stretch with his walk. He's gone 17 straight games now this year, going back to last year, 21 consecutive games that he's reached base. And tonight, a walk, a strikeout, and a double.
Here's Dobbs. Dobbs has singled and bounced out.
Three doubles tonight, so 45 on the year. Continuing to lead the major leagues in doubles.
We talked about the opponents coming in. The Colorado Rockies, red hot and very good this month. They're normally a slow starting team, those Rockies. 13-5. Rockies arrive tomorrow night for a 3-game series. Then the Dodgers. Then the Marlins go on the road and they'll take on the Reds and the Cardinals, and both those teams won today. The Cardinals beat the Nationals 5-0. Albert Pujols hit his 6th. Matt Holliday hit his 2nd.
Cardinals got a complete game 2-hit shutout from Kyle Loesch.
He is the latest reclamation project of Dave Duncan, who has had so many of those in his career.
He's picking up the Adam Wainwright slack.
Cincinnati had a tremendous outing from Mike Leake, who goes to 3-0 as Cincinnati beats Arizona 7-4. Joey Votto hit his 3rd. Kelly Johnson homering for Arizona, his 3rd. We had a few emails last night. We didn't get to those about Leake. Here's the 2-1 pitch. A liner on a hop, knocked down there by Walker. Fumbles it around, picks it up, and throws him out. Marlins are done here in the 4th. 8-1 Fish. Pirates right now in the 5th. There's Chris Volstad pitch by inning. The whopper was the 3rd, but a nice 7-pitch 4th. So here he is in the 5th at 50 pitches, nice and comfortable on top. Garrett Jones, Pedro Alvarez, Chris Snyder. Fly ball left field. Bonifacio goes back, looks up, and it's off the wall. Good hustle over by Cousins. You got to do that in this ballpark. Similar to Fenway Park, the center fielder has to come over in case the ball bounces by the left fielder, and Cousins was right on the spot.
Well, Pirate fans can be happy. We talked about Pedro Alvarez, who's a big part of their future. He's gotten off to a slow start. He was hitting 177, no home runs coming into the game. Well, he homered in the 2nd inning and stung that ball for a double here. So he's the one Pirate who has figured out Chris Volstad.
Here's Chris Snyder. Snyder lines it down the right field line. Back to the emails we had last night about Chris Leak, the Red starter who was arrested for shoplifting at a local Macy's, or excuse me, Mike Leak, the Red starter. And fans were questioning whether he should still be playing. And it's, I mean, if you want to draw analogies, there's whether it's baseball or basketball or whatever professional sport, there are athletes that get arrested or cited for certain things that continue to play.
Miguel Cabrera is a
much more egregious offense.
Much more so, and he's in the lineup for the Tigers.
I think for Leak, I mean, the kid obviously needs some help.
That's the big question. You want to know why, and if there is a problem there, to take care of it. And, you know, he'll still pitch, and obviously he pitched pretty well today.
Snyder takes down low. Snyder flied out back in the second. Volstad misses inside with that running fastball. But the Reds are a very good offensive team. The Pirates went in there and won 3 of 4 in Cincinnati before coming here to South Florida. You see Josh Rodriguez.
One of our favorites, Johnny Gomes, is off to a good start.
What's gotten into Johnny Gomes?
Joey Votto is always tough. Brandon Phillips.
Johnny Gomes is an on-base machine right now.
I'll tell you what's gotten into him. He's gotten an opportunity to play every day, not in a platoon role. Johnny Gomes out of Petaluma, California.
3-2. Slow tapper, a test for Dobbs, and he makes the play. Let's look at that upcoming schedule brought to you by Just for Men Hair Color. We can talk about the weekend, which we have with Chacin, Hamill, and Jimenez. Look at the matchup on Sunday. JJ and Ubaldo Jimenez. Dodgers for 3, then it's on to Cincinnati, and a 4-gamer in St. Louis. You can live forward with Just for Men Hair Color. The Cardinals right now, as a team, are hitting close to 300. That's tops in the National League.
Guy that's gotten off to a great start for them has been, you mentioned he homered today, Matt Holliday.
But Lance Berkman.
And Berkman. Remember, there are a lot of questions. Of course, sharing the same facility in spring training up at Roger Dean. With the Cardinals, there were a lot of questions surrounding Berkman. Could he play right field? Is he going to get his hitting stroke back?
And the Reds have scored more runs than anybody in the National League.
Holliday hitting .455 after his 2-for-3 home run performance today.
Holliday, Berkman, Pujols all hitting at the same time is a scary thought.
That's scary.
Slow tapper. I don't think Dobbs going to get him. That'll be an infield hit. Rodriguez runs pretty well. First major league hit.
Yeah, he's going to kind of slough it off because he didn't hit it well. It's an infield hit, but you know what? He's always going to remember it.
Although, remember Brian Sanchez last year had a rare at bat, and he hit a little swinging bunt, and they originally gave him a hit, and so they took the ball out of play and all that, and the next day they changed it to an error.
Yeah, well, that's going to be a hit, though. There'll be no change there. I think we would have seen McCutchen hit the pitcher, Daniel McCutchen, but because they get a little something going, John Bowker will step in. Because McCutchen was in the on-deck circle. I think if Rodriguez makes an out for the second out, we see McCutchen. But because they have a chance to get a little something going, Clint Hurdle sends up Bowker. Good movement. Looks like Chris Volstad's getting some real good movement. There's Mike Crotton, the youngster, local youngster, pitched at FAU.
Another slow tapper. Infante sweeps it up, flips to first. Marlins trade in and out for a run. Bowker gets an RBI, and it's an 8-2 lead with Alvarez scoring. Here comes Andrew McCutchen. So we told you the Dodgers beat the Braves on the walk-off shot by Kemp. Also tonight, the Phillies open up in San Diego. Houston and the Mets are now in the 5th inning, and the Mets lead at 4-0. David Wright has hit his 3rd. Breaking ball misses outside. The White Sox and the Rays are playing tonight. Does it just me, or do they play every night? It seems that way. They're in the bottom of the 5th, 6-2. Chicago on top of Tampa Bay. McCutchen takes that fastball in. Red Sox are out on the West Coast in Los Angeles to take on the Angels.
Boy, the Angels have been getting sizzling starts from Jared Weaver, Major League's only 5-game winner. He's off to a 5-0 start.
By contrast, this is only the 3rd start for Chris Volstad. Of course, the Marlins tweaked their rotation for a couple of reasons: a rainout and the desire of Randy St. Clair to work with Javier Vasquez for an entire week just on his form, technique, and delivery.
And Volstad got an opportunity to do a little extra work as well. Remember, he was in the bullpen on call early in the Anibal Sanchez game in Philadelphia, and then after it went a certain amount of innings, he got his work in and got a chance to throw some down in the bullpen.
3-2 coming to McCutchen. Well, when the night started, Volstad was feeding fly balls out to Bonifacio in left. He caught 4 of them in the first 2 innings. Since then, just about everything's been on the ground. Outside corner. Volstad gets the strikeout, finishes off McCutchen. Pirates get a run, but the Marlins still in control, 8-2.
Rich, thank you very much. Mike Crotta is coming to the game, as Tommy mentioned. He pitched at FAU. Tommy's son played with Mike Crotta there. But Mike went to Martin County High School. He was a big Marlin fan. When he was 9 years old, the Marlins came into existence. His parents surprised him in that very first game. They drove past his school. He wondered, where are we going? went to lunch, and came right to Joe Robbie Stadium, which is what he still calls this place, to watch the Marlins' first game. He said we'd go to about a game a year. He started coming to the stadium at the age of 3. His parents had Dolphin tickets and also had a Marlins package. And he said pitching here the other night, when he pitched for an inning in the third, was simply unbelievable. This is a great moment for him to get a chance to come back to the stadium he grew up coming to as a big Marlin fan and South Florida sports fan. Mike Crotta. And Tommy, you remember him from high school as well.
I remember him from FAU. Yeah, I saw him pitch, and I think it's kind of interesting. Basically now he's a sinker-slider guy. Did a good job the other night. But it's interesting having grown up here for him and seeing the Marlins. This is the last trip, of course, for the Pirates ever in this ballpark.
And the funny thing was, as Mike Stanton stands in, he pitched in the opener of the series, and the game was not on television locally, and you and I got to the ballpark yesterday, and the Marlins were just coming out for batting practice, and there was a guy in a Pirates uniform in the Pirates dugout, and I thought to myself, that guy's huge for a bat boy, because normally visiting players don't come out until, 5 o'clock-ish.
Stretch time.
Yeah. He was out way early. That ball's hit way hard. Deep to left. Gone!
Oh, wow.
A rocket from Stanton.
First of many of the 2011 season. And that is the kind of home run Mike Stanton can hit. One of those line shots that gets out in a hurry. A sinker that didn't sink. Came back middle of the plate, and look at that solid swing. And watch where it hits. Just on top.
So Stanton is homered. Here is Cousins. Of course, Cousins opened his night with a bang, a grand slam in the second, doubled and scored in the third. Just his second start this year, and an opportunity because of the injury to Logan Morrison. Marlins may have an announcement after the game in terms of their short-term plans for Morrison, whether they have to put him on the disabled list and make a corresponding move. But with Morrison in a cast that will come off early next week, all signs point towards a stay on the disabled list of at least 2 weeks.
First game, Rich, this year, the Marlins have homered 3 times.
Cousins, remember, people forget that Cousins was a third-round draft pick back in 2006. Pulled down the first base line. In case you missed it earlier, Logan Morrison adding the nice pinstripes to the cast.
A very frustrated Logan Morrison.
Frustrated, but you know what? One of the most humble athletes you'll ever meet. Has kept his sense of humor about it. You can tell that he's disappointed and down. Cousins drops the hammer on that one. Deep center field. McCutchen goes back. Should have room. And he does.
Oh, that ball could have rattled off the center field wall for a triple. Another well-struck ball by Scott Cousins.
And out here in the 5th. Marlin fans, present your Miccosukee Ultimate Rewards Players Club card at the stadium box office starting 2 hours prior to any home game and receive a $10 discount on up to 8 infield box seats. Offer cannot be combined and is subject to availability. Miccosukee Resort and Gaming, get in the game. Well, here's the other guy that has had a big night, and that's Brett Hayes, a double and a 3-run homer. Just the second start for Hayes. And I think, having watched John Buck, the Marlins are very happy with Buck's work behind the plate. He's had some big hits as well. But watching Brett Hayes in his second start gives a manager a lot of confidence that he can give Buck at least a day off a week.
There are so many things that transpire when a couple of guys that aren't everyday players get an opportunity to play and have success. I mean, it gives them great confidence the next time they're called on. It gives the manager, Edwin Rodriguez, confidence to put them in games or to make a double switch and utilize the entire 25-man roster. It gives the guys who are in there every day a chance to get a little breather. There's a better sinker from Crota. That was the one he wanted to throw to Mike Stanton.
We had a chance to talk to him yesterday. And Craig, very accurate about just how thrilled he is to pitch here. Ball and a strike. Two and one. Volstad is through 5 and is in line to pick up his first win of the season. Two coming from Crota. Chris, it's a little dribbler up the line. Alvarez throws it away. Volstad is going to take a turn and head to second, and Chris is in there. You forget how good an athlete Volstad is, but he moves quite well for a big man.
I may have to say hit and error on that. That's a tough play for the third baseman, Pedro Alvarez. And unfortunately, they're going to say error all the way. Yes, a good throw gets him, but look at how far he had to go. Yeah, if it's a good throw, he gets him, but the degree of difficulty tells me that should be a base hit and an error. He's playing deep because it's the pitcher. Chris Volstad actually slows up because of where the throw was. But right now, it's an error all the way.
Bonifacio has struck out, has been hit by a pitch, and has lined out. John DeJuan, the fielding Bible author and defense guru, will be with us next inning.
And the top 3 hitters tonight are just 1 for 8.
Slackers.
And it's that bottom part of the order that's torn things up. You know, looking at Mike Crota, I'm thinking about the coach over at FAU. John McCormack was the recruiter at the time, assistant coach. Recruited Crota out of Martin County High School. Coach Cooney, the coach at the time. So it's always good to see the local kids get to the big leagues. There have been a lot of guys out of Miami, we know that.
Liner to short, Rodriguez snares it. Mike Stanton drills a solo shot. 9-2. It's the 6th inning. Mike Stanton has joined in the fun. You got two guys from Notre Dame High School who have homered now. Brett Hayes homering and Stanton homering. And, of course, the big blow, Scott Cousins with a grand slam in this one, giving Chris Volstad plenty of cushion, and Volstad takes that lead now into the 6th inning. All right, tonight's telecast, we've talked so much about defense, and we showed you during the pregame show the big fielding Bible. Tommy actually put his hand on the fielding Bible and took the defensive oath.
Defensive oath.
And the gentleman that authors the fielding Bible and one of the great Sabre mathematicians in terms of defense. Can I call you that, John DeJuan, a Sabre mathematician?
Hey, I like that. That's a good name.
How are you?
I'm real good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good, John. Thanks for joining us tonight.
We have a good ball game here, and it's a good enough cushion here to have a live phone guest on. It's a 9-2 Marlins lead, and so we've got some defensive questions for you. We were leafing through the fielding Bible before the ball game as Jose Tabata stands in. One of the things we've talked about tonight, John, is the fact that the Marlins last year were not a very good defensive team. In the offseason, they tried to help themselves in a variety of spots. Is it too early for someone like yourself to look at this ball club in something other than fielding percentage, where they're now 8th in the National League, and say they're better or worse than they were last year?
Well, let me give you a little perspective on last year.
Okay.
So Florida was 80 and 82, won 80 games last year. And the way we measure defense, we measure it in a currency of baseball called runs. We all know what runs are, and for defense, we have runs saved by your defense. So the best team in baseball defensively last year was the Oakland A's with 74 runs saved. And the Marlins, their defense cost them 23 runs. So that's about a 90-run difference. Or actually, it's closer to 100. And those 100 runs account for about 10 wins. So if the Marlins had the defense of the A's last year, they would have won 90 games.
That would have been nice. There's Scott Cousins out in center field, and he makes the catch. Are you able to measure those runs saved already this year with just a small sample size of 18 to 20 games?
Yeah, we do. And the Marlins have overall are about average. They've saved 3 runs as a team. Best defensive player on the team is the guy playing all those positions, Emilio Bonifacio.
Oh, that brings up a great – we were talking about that earlier, John, how you rate and how you can rate a guy who plays so many positions.
Yeah, so we got him at, playing multiple positions. We got him saving 2 runs in right field. He has 2 base runner kills already.
I like that. That's like
base
Top
runner
Gun.
Kill. That's right. A base runner kill is thrown directly to a base and nabbing the base runner. So he's got 2 of those so far, and that's helping him get 2 runs saved with his arm. And we got him, with a couple of runs, 1 run saved at each of a couple of the other positions he plays. So he's been the best with 4 runs saved overall. He's been the best defender on the Marlins this year.
And there's guys throughout the league. I mean, maybe the Jerry Hairston, Alfredo Amezaga was that kind of guy, or a Bonifacio, a super utility player that, a lot of people don't recognize as great defensive players, but they have to be to play all over the place, don't they?
Well, you got one on your team who's now playing second base, Omar Infante, who is a super utility player. And so, yeah, those guys are valuable when they can play multiple positions. But the guy that I really like on your team is Mike Stanton.
That brings us to another question. The guy who plays to his right, he's not in the lineup tonight, but is it too early to judge Chris Coughlin and how he's adjusted to playing center field?
Well, Chris is an interesting situation, interesting player, because 2 years ago he was horrible in left field. He cost the Marlins 16 runs in 2009 playing left field. But last year he actually saved 4 runs for the Marlins, so he had a 20-run improvement in 1 year. So that was a significant improvement. Now, is he able to play center field? Can a left fielder move to play center field? Not usually. But it's still, still early to find out. Right now he's at -2 runs. He's cost the team 2 runs so far this year defensively, based on how we keep track of the stats.
I want to go back to Mike Stanton, because you mentioned Mike Stanton.
Yeah, Stanton last year tied with Jay Bruce for the most runs saved of a right fielder in all of baseball last year. He saved 17 runs, 12 with his ability to cover ground in right field, and 5 with his arm. He had 8 base runner kills last year.
We are talking with John Juan, who is the author of the Fielding Bible, which has become the go-to publication for all things defense in baseball. John, we were talking, Tommy and I, about 2 or 3 innings ago about the metrics in measuring defense and how far it's come in the last 4 to 5 years. And we both agreed, I think, while it has shed an enormous amount of light on how you measure defense, there is still a little bit of gray area. And one example for us was the play the other night, ball in the corner where Bonifacio goes and gets it, a perfect relay throw to Hanley, a perfect throw to Buck. How do you measure that? I mean, good team defense, not a kill at a base or not a range factor of a guy diving in the hole, but just solid defense. Teams, fundamentally sound teams like, say, the Minnesota Twins, who hit the cutoff man, who do the little things.
Yeah, we do keep track of those things. We have a category of plays called misplays and good plays, where we keep track of players who go above and beyond the duty and make a play that saves a base or costs the team a play that costs the base that isn't called an error. So we do keep track of those things, but that's a perfect example of where we're not yet measuring everything. So, we feel that about 60% of the player's defensive ability is being measured at this point, but there's a lot to go. There's a lot of good reason to watch the players to get a good idea of how good they are defensively.
Right now, Chris Volstad laboring a bit here in the 6th. Runners first and second. 3-1 pitch to Garrett Jones, and he walks him, and the bases are loaded. The Marlins up by 7, but certainly the Fish would like to see Volstad push through. Here comes Edwin on his way out, and he may be coming out with a hook for Chris Volstad. We'll wait till Edwin makes the move. The Marlins jumping early on James McDonald, the Scott Cousins grand slam, and the 3-run homer for Brett Hayes. Edwin wants the baseball. Volstad exits. John, hang on. We'll be back in a moment. 9-2, the Marlins on top. Here's our Marooney called to the pen.
When you need a car, truck or van, who you gonna call? Marooney!
Marlins on top of the Pittsburgh Pirates. So Randy Choate comes in, and he inherits a bases-loaded one-out situation. Pedro Alvarez, who has been the bright spot for the Pirates offensively, a solo homer, a double. He has scored twice. Choate, of course, a lefty specialist, so a perfect time to bring him in here. Alvarez, the All-American out of Vanderbilt, and he takes a breaking ball for a strike. John DeJuan of the Fielding Bible is our guest. In a moment, we're going to show you the Fielding Bible Awards from last year. The difference between the Gold Gloves in terms of number is it's just one guy at one position throughout the major leagues. It's not an American League, National League award. And as well, Fielding Bibles are given to, well, not the Bibles themselves, but the award to right fielders, center fielders, and left fielders. So it's not like you just have 3 center fielders winning a Fielding Bible award. 1-1 the count to Pedro Alvarez. And that ball ping-pongs off of Hayes and the home plate umpire, Sam Holbrook.
I think we could just see Choate pitching to Alvarez with the Snyder right-hander on deck.
It's hard to do a phone interview, John, with a lefty specialist on the mound coming in to get one hitter.
Well, it's also hard because I'm not being able to see what's going on the field, so I don't want to interrupt you guys when the play is going on.
That's all right. That's why it's a 9-2 game, and the Marlins certainly are hopeful that Choate can get Alvarez here.
Well, keep scoring 9 runs a game. You won't have to worry about defense.
Yeah. There's a fastball for a strike. And so the count now is at 2-2. Bases filled with Pirates. Lyle Overbay, Neil Walker, Garrett Jones. Let's see if Choate can get Alvarez, who was in a big-time slump before tonight. There's a chopper towards third. Dobbs is going to have to eat it. And so Choate makes a perfect pitch, and he gets a 5-hopper that goes 40 feet for an RBI single. And here comes Edwin. As we expected, Choate was just for one hitter. That's why we didn't go into an in-depth question with John. But here's the replay on that one.
Yeah, we have John on the line. He's not going to describe this, but I think even Scott Rowland, who's won many Gold Gloves, is not going to make that play. It's barehanded and dropped by Dobbs. People boo, but he wouldn't have made the play anyway.
Or Evan Longoria, who was the Fielding Bible winner at third base last year.
Or maybe Ryan Zimmerman.
There you go. We'll talk about that.
Pedro Alvarez last inning when he made that error. That was how
When?
Well, then I'm sure you would save a lot of runs on our run save system.
These are the Fielding Bible Award winners from last year. Derek Barton in Oakland at first. Chase Utley at second. Evan Longoria at third. We'll see Tulowitzki this weekend. Brett Gardner, Michael Bourne, Ichiro, Yadier Molina, and, of course, Burley won it on opening day with his tremendous play. But he's had a great run on the mound. And Ryan Webb comes in and nearly hits Chris Snyder with his first pitch. Snyder is 0 for 2. Webb becomes the third pitcher for the Fish, taking over for Randy Choate after Chris Volstad left with the bases loaded and 1 out here in the 6th. It's 9-3, Marlins on top. And Webb to the plate. There's a soft liner into left field for a base hit. Bonifacio picks it up. And the Pirates have another run across. And it's now 9-4.
You mentioned Mark Burley. He did make that play on opening day, and he'd won the Fielding Bible Award the previous year, and that did lock him in. But he saved 8 runs for the White Sox last year, which was the best in baseball for a pitcher.
Now, the Marlins have one of the great infield coaches in the game back this year in Perry Hill. And one of the things that Hill works with, along with fundamentals of footwork and throwing and all of that with his infield, he is a very big proponent of positioning, going as far as to mark spots on the field for certain hitters. John, have your thoughts, and I know it's an all-star panel, you and Bill James and guys like Rob Nyer are on this Fielding Bible panel. Your thoughts on Perry Hill and his reputation in baseball?
Well, I think that being able to look at positioning, studying what the tendencies of hitters are, helping your infielders read the signs by the pitch, by the catcher, knowing what the pitcher is going to throw, all that, positioning closer to the pull area, if it's an off-speed pitch, that sort of thing. That's really important, and it's a huge part of defense, positioning is. And Chase Utley is the guy that has really taken that to another level, and that's really the reason why he is so good, because of his positioning.
And that has to be one of the reasons why Chase Utley is a Fielding Bible Award winner, because Utley doesn't have great range in terms of speed per se, but he always seems to be in the right spot.
Yeah, he doesn't look as good as a guy like Brandon Phillips or Orlando Hudson, but we looked at it real in depth, and we were like, why does he win? Why does he have the most runs saved year after year? Well, it turns out against left-handed batters, he's playing closer to first base than other second basemen, getting in that hole more often. And against right-handers, he's playing closer to second than other players, and he's scouted the hitters and knows where they tend to hit the ball.
Pirates have the bases loaded. There's one out that counts 1-2 on Josh Rodriguez. Ryan Webb in. Matt Diaz is on deck, and a breaking ball is fouled back to the screen. A guy like Derek Jeter, we hear the argument that, Jeter is overrated defensively. Does he not do enough of that positioning to make up for the lack of range?
Exactly right. His big trouble is that he doesn't have the arm. He has a great arm, but for a shortstop, compared to other Major League shortstops, he has an average arm, or actually a below-average arm. So you compare him against, other ball players around all professional sports, he's pretty good. But against major leaguers, his arm is weak, and he gets trouble with balls in the hole.
Ryan Webb hits Josh Rodriguez, and this inning is starting to turn ugly for the Marlins as the Pirates have pushed across 3 runs. A couple walks, a hit batter, an infield hit, and Randy St. Clair is out to talk to Ryan Webb. Well, John, we have the Fielding Bible. We quote it, not verbatim, but we use pieces of it throughout the year, and we appreciate you coming on. And we'll talk to you next year. Maybe we'll have you on at the end of the year just to see where the Marlins stack up as compared to last year's Marlins.
Well, they're off to a good start compared to last year. It's they're minus 23 runs hurt them last year, but the Mets this year are already at minus 25. Their defense has been anemic, and so hopefully the Marlins can improve and get to 90 wins with a great defense.
All right, John, always a pleasure. FieldingBible.com. Ground ball up the middle. Diving stop Hanley. Infante barehanded. Oh, what an exit.
Oh, John Dewan would have loved that one.
Oh, that's 2-run save right there, John.
You better believe it. There, bases loaded, great play, double play. You can't beat it.
Oh, yeah. Watch that one on MLB.com. FieldingBible.com is the website. Marlins still on top. It's a grand slam by Scott Cousins, a 3-run shot by Brett Hayes, and a solo shot by Mike Stanton. Jose Veras comes in for the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Marlins' big lead has melted a bit. It's down to 9-5. Veras, who pitched well for the Fish last year, now in the Pirate bullpen.
Well, there are a couple of things, and this might be a little harsh, but Chris Volstad needed to get through that 6th inning to complete the inning. Might have been a little out of gas. He had to run the bases. He got that base hit, reached second, motored on to second on the error. Might have been a little tired. The bottom line is the bullpen has been doing a terrific job. Bullpen gave up a couple of hits, all the runs charged to Chris Volstad. That would make me, as a starting pitcher, want to finish that 6th inning so I could do it myself and not leave it over to the bullpen.
Omar Infante, Hanley Ramirez, Gabby Sanchez against Veras, who throws a strike. Infante tonight has singled, bounced out, and flied out.
Nice job last year that Jose Veras did in his 48 games as a Marlin. Good slider, good fastball, change up once in a while.
There's that slider, and it's 1-2. I know having live phone guests can be tricky in terms of the play-by-play, and we thought at 9-2 was a good time to have John on. Then the Marlins saw the Pirates score 3 times, but what a way to end an interview on defense about runs saved with that play by Hanley.
It was outstanding.
And the bare hand turn by Infante. Here is Hanley.
We've seen Hanley just in this series make a couple of tremendous plays. Going up the middle is Matt Diaz, that guy Diaz. There's the pick. Look at the bare hand, and then a quick turn to get the double play easily.
Hanley takes a look at a Veras fastball, and it's 0-1. So Volstad's final numbers: 5 1/3, 4 hits, but all 5 runs his. 5 strikeouts to 3 walks.
And he walked 2 of those in that inning, that last inning.
Ball and a strike. Marlins trying for a sweep of the Pirates before the Rockies get here tomorrow night. Remember, tomorrow night's game is not on television. But Saturday night and Sunday afternoon will be on television. This, as we explained last night, one of the rare weeks where there are a couple of Marlin games not on TV. You'll be able to see 156 of them throughout the course of the season.
So be patient.
And make sure you, I know Sunday is a big day for a lot of reasons. And one of those reasons is that Josh Johnson will be facing Ubaldo Jimenez.
2 of the premier right-handers in baseball on Easter Sunday.
The 3-1 pitch coming to Hanley Ramirez. You'll remember that last year, let's get to the freeze cam before we get to last year. Our freeze cam brought to you by Coors Light. Let's freeze a little of this. First big league home run for Scott Cousins is a grand slam. Crossbrew Coors Light freeze cam, that came in the 2nd inning. Hanley's at first, and the running game is back on now that it's 9-5. Remember, last year the cover of Sports Illustrated, which was entitled The Year of the Pitcher, there were 3 pitchers superimposed in the windup. Roy Halladay, Josh Johnson, Ubaldo Jimenez. Hanley is running. Snyder's throw is high, and Hanley's in there. Pirates thought they had him. Here comes Clint Hurdle. Second base umpire is Todd Tichenor, and he's about to meet and greet with Clint Hurdle. Let's take a look at it.
You and I were talking earlier about the tag. That's Rodriguez. Before it was Walker. Let's watch Hanley's left foot. If he gets it on the bag.
I think he's in there.
I think he's in there. It's a tough angle to see because you really lose the side.
There you go.
There's a better angle.
And he's safe.
And he's safe. Well, it's been a tough series. Frustrating for Clint Hurdle.
It's a good call. When Tichenor is there, he's in a perfect position. And I think for a veteran manager like Hurdle, who knows it's a bang-bang play, when he sees his player react like that, as Rodriguez reacted, you almost have to go out there as a manager, don't you?
Yes, you do. You kind of play it off the reaction of the player.
Hanley's running for third. Snyder's throw. This time he's out.
Didn't get a good jump. Got a little bit greedy. Stole second, but in watching Hanley, didn't have a great lead, and he didn't get the best of jumps either, and that's why Snyder was able to get him. Doesn't have a big lead. And a quick throw by Chris Snyder, and right on the money.
That's another bang-bang play and another good call. That time Jerry Davis had the call at third base. Meanwhile, Gabby gave up the first two pitches of his at-bat, and so he's sitting with a count 1-2 now. Two coming. Struck him out. Varus, with some help from his catcher, Chris Snyder, rather, finishes off the fish. 9-5 Marlins. And Cookie are over there tonight. Hi, guys. How are you tonight?
We're doing very good. How are you guys doing tonight?
Well, we're doing good. The Pirates are trying to creep back into this thing, but now hopefully the bullpen can settle in.
Well, no question. I think the bullpen has done a great job all year, and now let's see if Webb can hold him a little bit here. But I'll tell you what has been nice tonight is to see Scott Cousins, getting a chance to play for Coughlin in center field, and also, we lost Logan Morrison and Brett Hayes coming into the game too, and both of them hitting home runs, which I think has been great for this ball club to see them act that way. And acting in a responsible way, trying to help a ball club, and covering all the injuries that we have.
Yeah, it's been a big night for the reserves on a night where the lineup looked kind of jumbled to begin with. McCutchen takes a fastball for a strike. All right, guys, have a good show. We're glad we hooked up with you tonight.
Finish strong. Finish strong, guys.
It's in your hands, Tito.
Okay.
All right, guys.
1-2 to McCutchen, with Tabata and Overbay coming up as well. Good breaking ball, chopped over the middle. Hanley to his left behind the bag on the run. Gabby kept the toe on there for the out.
Hanley's been covering a lot of ground in this series, and once again to his left, knew that he had to get rid of it quickly because of McCutchen's speed.
Tommy, I want to talk after we look at the Fox Exmo. Hanley on the move. I want to talk a little bit about Ryan Webb here, a guy that after a rough start out of the bullpen has really settled into a nice role and has given the Marlins some solid outings. Breaking ball, he gets a strike on Tabata.
Yeah, that rough start was his first appearance of the year as a Marlin against the Mets. Second game of the season. Just faced 3 batters and gave up 3 runs. But since that time, he's been tremendous. So he got that bad one out of the way and has been utilizing that good sinker, heavy sinker, slider, and we saw changeups, some changeups from him the last time out.
And his changeups have been so good. Left-handed hitters are hitting just 188 against him. Mike Dunn getting ready in the bullpen. Breaking ball, ground ball. Hanley loads up, fires to first in time. It's like Hanley has found the right arm slot there as well.
Yes, he has.
Nissan Road ahead. All right, 2 6-0 wins against the Pirates. Marlins trying to sweep here tonight. The Rockies, can't tell you how good the Rockies are right now. 13-5 coming in. Dodgers for 3. It's on the road to Cincinnati and St. Louis. And look at Sunday's matchup. Ubaldo Jimenez and Josh Johnson. Edwin comes in, and Ryan Webb exits. Here comes Mike Dunn. Maroney called to the pen.
When you need a car, truck or van, who you gonna call? Maroney!
Warms up. Hanley Ramirez, we were talking about arm slots for pitchers with Charlie Morton, but it counts for shortstops too.
Well, it's something that we saw Hanley struggle with the first few games. His errors have been throwing errors. He hasn't gotten that arm in the right spot, and it's been something he's worked on with Perry Hill. It seems like when he has more time, then he makes the poor throw. When he just reacts the way he's done the last few days and gets that arm in the right slot, he's made good throws, and he's been able to do that.
But as we've seen tonight and as we've seen in this series, he's made some terrific plays out at short. And so maybe he's been able to make that adjustment and lock in that angle. Mike Dunn, second appearance of this series, fires a strike to Overbay. If you're cruising around and just dropped in on this one, the Marlins have a 9-5 lead. It was 9-2. Pirates got 3 in the 6th, knocking Chris Volstad out of the game. Long way to go for Gabby, long way to go for Dunn, but they are able to complete a 3-1 putout and finish off the 7th. 7th inning stretch in South Florida. We've seen in particular, it's Gabby Sanchez at first base.
Yeah, I really like the way he went after this ground ball, and after he caught it, first of all, you have a lefty on the mound in Mike Dunn. Gabby gets to it, and he doesn't just stop there. He gets his momentum going to the bag and then makes it an easy flip. You'll see some first baseman will stop, then try to overhand a throw, but if you have time, get that momentum going, just as Gabby did, and then make the nice feed to Dunn, who was right there. So that was nicely done. Figuratively speaking.
Dobbs, Stanton, and Cousins against Joe Beimel. Major League veteran, has been an addition to the Pittsburgh bullpen. Dobbs twice has bounced to second. He singled in the second, and that second inning, the big inning for the Fish, 5 runs in that inning. That was the Cousins grand slam inning. Brett Hayes hit a 3-run homer in the 3rd, and Mike Stanton a solo shot in the 5th.
Joe Beimel, one of those lefty specialists, but they're trying to get him some work. He started the year on the disabled list with some elbow inflammation. This is only his 3rd outing of the year.
Out of the bullpen, there are general practitioners, and then there are lefty specialists.
Lefty specialists. There's a certain school that you have to go to.
You do need to have a referral, though, to go to the lefty specialists. But apparently he's not inked up enough for the Justin Miller rule. Would that be?
I think it's more if it's the throwing arm. There's plenty of ink on the glove on him. But I think it's more if it's the throwing arm.
So a hitter would not be transfixed by that Gothic-looking tat on Beimel's forearm there?
He might be. I'm transfixed on it.
Here's the 2-1. I think there's a bird in there and a lion. I think Grover Cleveland.
Maybe a Warren Spahn or a John Candelaria.
There. See, if you're a lefty specialist, you want to put a good lefty in there somewhere.
And you got to throw a pirate lefty in there, like John Candelaria. And Beimel's been with a lot of teams, so.
Like when you were a kid and you went to the doctor's office and they had the Highlights magazine and you had to find the hidden deal in there.
He's been with the Rockies and the Nationals and the Dodgers and Tampa Bay and the Twins.
Breaking ball misses outside. These are good at bats for Dobbs, though, because he's getting a chance to play every day. So now he's getting at bats against lefties, whereas over the last couple of seasons in Philadelphia, he rarely saw lefties. His pinch hitting appearances were almost exclusively against righties, and he'd get some lefties if he stayed in a game or started a game. A swing and a miss, and he pops Snyder in the helmet with a backswing. Toyota Trend, support from the bottom. 6, 7, 8 in the lineup, no problem. Stanton is homered, he's walked twice. Cousins had a grand slam, his first career homer. And Brett Hayes, 3-run homer and a double.
Bottoms up tonight. Be surprised at some of the Marlins that hit grand slams for the first home run.
Well, Jeremy Hermita's one.
Jeff Conine. Chuck Carr and Kilby Alvarez.
Really?
There are a couple of surprises. Craig Counsell. And the man at the plate, Mike Stanton.
Really? Here's Hensley. Well, he made his debut in Philadelphia. Drives that ball to center field. McCutchen is over, and he makes the catch.
But his grand slam
was that in Puerto Rico?
Against the Rays.
Ah, against the Rays. Here comes Cousins. Scott had a grand slam and then followed it up with a double, and then he hit a ball about 400 feet to the warning track in center field, his third at bat. Where is our good friend Justin Miller? I pulled up his page and I see that he has not pitched this year in the big leagues.
Last time, yeah, I don't know.
It was with the Dodgers
last time I
year.
saw, was the Dodgers or the Giants?
Giants in 09.
Yeah.
Dodgers in 2010. Of course, a Marlin in 07 and 08. Crack staff is the crack staff still here, by the way? They didn't leave when it was 9-2, I hope. Here's the 1-0.
Crack staff is trying to figure out some of those fielding Bible terms right now. I think we threw him for a loop tonight a little bit.
That one is fouled back. All right, here, Tommy.
The UZR, the ultimate zone rating,
computes the runs saved or lost by a fielder and compares that to the league average at his position. So if you're the average player, you're at 0. If you've got a UZR of plus, that's good.
So plus is good. That's what's confusing, because sometimes in a lot of different analogies of things, sometimes minus is good and sometimes plus is good. So in the UZR case, plus is good. You're throwing this on me, and I'm just learning how to tweet.
And I just found Justin Miller. He's pitching in Tacoma for Seattle's AAA affiliate.
Okay.
And he's got an outstanding ERA, 1.17 in 5 appearances. Now that's a ball club, Seattle, that proves UZR, it can only get you so far. I mean, you can lose 100 games and have the best UZR in all of baseball if you can't score runs. Swing and a miss. Cousins goes down. 1-2-3 go the Fish in the 7th. Going to the 8th. Joe Beimel, thanks for coming. 9-5. Now select your seats in the new ballpark. Be part of the future of Marlins baseball in Miami. Place a deposit today. Just call the new Marlins ballpark sales headquarters, 1-877-411-2012, or go to marlins.com/new ballpark. Last night we had a chance to see all the latest footage from downtown Miami in the new ballpark. Clay Hensley comes into the ball game. He takes over from Mike Dunn. Dunn goes just a third of an inning. It's been Randy Choate, Ryan Webb, Mike Dunn, and now Hensley. Donnie Murphy.
Donnie Murphy comes in. He'll probably bat ninth. We'll slide Hensley in the Dobbs spot.
Marlins are scheduled to see all right-handers for the Colorado Rockies. Julius Chacin, who is 3-0 with an ERA of 1.64, starts tomorrow night against Anibal Sanchez. And Javier Vasquez on Saturday, hopefully a new streamlined delivery. Jason Hamill, who is 1-1 with a 4.76 ERA. Then, of course, the J.J. Ubaldo matchup on Sunday.
You were talking about Ubaldo earlier. Remember last year he got off to a 15-1 start prior to the All-Star game with an ERA at 2.20. Now he only went 4-7 the second half of the season, but 15-1 at the break.
The scary thing about the Rockies is you see Neil Walker with a count 1-2. Swing and a miss. Good dive bomber by Hensley. Hayes digs it out. And a strikeout for Hensley, his first batter. The scary thing about the Rockies is that they're always a late charging team. There's Joel Hanrahan in the bullpen for the Pirates. It's always, I mean, remember last year, didn't Troy Tulowitzki hit a bunch of homers in September? And the Rockies had one of those. You know, Rockies have always seemed to have the late season charges.
I want to say he hit 14 or 15 in the month of September. Just came short of the Babes record, September record of 17.
And he's picked up where he's left off. Though I think the Rockies did fade in the last week and a half of the year last year. The Giants, of course, went on to catch the Padres in the West. Hensley misses down low. The Rockies are traditionally a strong finishing team, but off to a terrific start this year. Hensley's had a chance to visit with his good buddy Kevin Correa, who is on this Pirates rotation.
And doing a terrific job, too. Correa for the Pirates this year, 3-1 with a 2.48 ERA in his 4 starts. Been in 5 games, 4 starts.
Clay gets a strike, and it's 3-1 on Garrett Jones. In the air, Murphy, and out of play. 12,308 in attendance tonight. Mets continue to lead Houston 6-1 in the 8th. A lot of games from earlier in the National League. The Dodgers have come from behind, come from behind to get to extra innings and then win it. Hensley strikes out Jones. Dodgers beat Atlanta. Let's check in with Craig Minervini.
Rich, let's check in with our Lexus League leaders. The Marlins coming into this ball game 1.74, leading the National League, leading Major League Baseball. On the Major League list, 2.77, doing a good job. And look at this, since April 12th, coming into tonight is one of the reasons that ERA is so low. 1 earned run, 19 innings, an opponent average of 125. That's 8 for 64 against the Marlins pen. And one of the things I talked with Edwin Rodriguez, said, are you surprised by anybody in the bullpen? He said, well, one guy picked out, not surprised but impressed. The guy we just saw, Ryan Webb. He said he's a strike thrower. He can throw 1 inning, 2 innings, he can even close for you. He's been really impressed from where he's come from, Ryan Webb.
And, you know, guys have been able to work in different roles, Tommy and Craig. It really hasn't been just, well, this is the mop-up guy, this is the guy when you're up on top that's going to work the 7th and then the 8th and then the 9th. You've seen guys like Webb and Choate and Dunn and Mujica.
All used in close games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donnie Murphy, oh, he had to kick the helmet of Hayes away and make the catch. How about that? And smiles all around. When you make the play, you get smiles. Watch this.
There goes the helmet.
Pirates, and both managers have gone deep into the bullpen. Joel Hanrahan comes in. He's been the closer for the Pirates, and a good one. Look at him. He's 5 of 5 in save opportunities. I think we'll see both closers now, because for the managers in 2 6-0 ball games, they haven't had a chance to use the back end of their bullpens.
Yeah, Hanrahan with the 5 saves, and there's Leo Nunez. We're going to see him. You're right. Here we are in a game that it doesn't really call for the closer, but both are going to see action because of the nature of their work. So Clint Hurdle wants to get his closer a little work, and we'll see Nunez in the 9th inning as well.
So here's Brett Hayes. A big night for Hayes in just his 2nd start. Hayes got his first big league homers last year as Hanrahan runs that fastball in. Hayes hit a couple of homers in 26 games. If he keeps swinging the bat like this, he becomes a little more attractive as a pinch hitting option. I know it's tough when you have just two catchers.
Yeah, you have to be careful doing that, because if you use him and burn him, then you don't have any to back up John Buck.
Would the emergency guy be, what, a Gabby Sanchez?
I think Gabby. I've never really asked. We need to ask Edwin that. But I think it would be Gabby.
I wouldn't be surprised if Donnie Murphy said he could do it. Bonifacio might say he could
just
do it.
Give the gear to Bonnie.
Hayes hits a sharp chopper to third. Alvarez throws across the diamond. I can remember when Alfredo Amezaga was on this team, you and I would have paid good money just to see him catch, to see what type of show he put on.
I have the feeling there would have been a flare. He would have had a flare with the catcher's gear on.
Murphy now. Donnie's first at bat. He came in the double switch. And then Bonifacio is on deck. Hanrahan showing a good fastball at 95 for a strike, and it's 0-1. As well as a wicked breaking ball.
Yeah, that's what Hanrahan features mostly. He does have a changeup, but a good fastball. He saw a fastball in 96 to go along with a slider.
Buries that one in the dirt. Marlins trying to get to 11-6. This is one of the best starts in club history, by the way. The Marlins in their 19th season of baseball.
Marlins also trying to just record their second 3-game sweep of the Pirates here in this ballpark.
Murphy, a ground ball. Rodriguez over to get it, and a short hop pick by Overbay. Donnie Murphy is out, 6-3. The Marlins at 10-6 coming into this ball game equaled a start in 2009 and 2004. Look at this guy. Now, see, the crack staff. The crack staff. This is the earliest wild card standings ever. They're just looking for something to do down there.
That is, I think, the earliest sighting of wild card standings. I have a feeling, we talked about this last night, I do have a feeling in 2012 we will possibly see another team or two added to postseason.
That's right. The commissioner today saying that he heard Tommy on the telecast last night, and he wanted to endorse Tommy's feeling of
a one-game playoff.
One-game playoff.
Well, the fear is if you start having a 3 out of 5 or even best of 3 series, then you're going to drag everything into November. You don't want that to happen. The other thing you'd like to see happen is shorten the season to 154 games, but they're not going to do that.
1-2 pitch is flipped foul.
If you did that, then I'd feel a little more comfortable with a best of 3 or something like that.
Well, baseball purposely has moved the season up this year to keep games out of November. So I would suspect that you're on to something in terms of a one-game winner-take-all wild card playoff.
Make it, roll the dice. You got to use your best pitcher. But I don't want to see a whole lot. I just hate, as I said last night, to dilute the 162 game schedule, and to make that meaningless. There's a lot that goes into 162 games.
Ground ball out to second. Neil Walker gathers it in. And Joel Hanrahan works a 1-2-3-8. Leo Nunez comes in, tries to finish this one. That lady in the black top threw out the first pitch. And she was in, we are told, the Amazing Race.
Actually did a pretty good job. Had a good arm. Had a good arm throwing out the first pitch.
And she was texting just a moment ago, "Dear Rich and Tommy, is this a save situation?" And Tommy just answered back, "No. 4-run game. Nunez comes in the ninth. Not a save opportunity."
These are those opportunities, though, we've seen. They're not bad. Not too bad.
That was better than Carl Lewis the other night. We saw the highlight of.
Oh, yeah. These are the situations, though, that every once in a while trouble closers. Not only Leo Nunez, but many closers over the years. They come in, you need to get the work, but a lot of closers work off adrenaline. And it's tough to get that same adrenaline in a game like this when it's not a save situation.
Chris Snyder. Nunez misses in with a fastball. So the Pirates are looking for base runners. Nunez is looking for outs as the Marlins try to sweep the Pirates. And Leo opens up by going 2-0 on Snyder, who was 1 for 3. There's a strike. It's 2-1. Tomorrow night, not on television. Saturday night, we're at you with that matchup. And, of course, Sunday's matchup with Ubaldo Jimenez and Josh Johnson.
A good weekend, and then the Dodgers come to town Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday day game. Kind of an interesting Dodger team. Hard to read. Haven't gotten a read yet on the Dodger team.
Well, there's more to read on the off-the-field stuff.
Well,
Hanley
yeah.
makes a nice catch on the line drive. And allowed out.
And you would imagine that the focus for Don Mattingly is to keep his team focused on the field and not with all the stuff that's going on off the field.
Interesting reading today about the fallout of Major League Baseball taking over the Dodgers, and one of the guys quoted in What Life Will Be Like before the The team is sold apparently to another owner. Jim Bowden was talking about what it was like with the Nationals, the Expos/Nationals, when Major League Baseball ran that club before local ownership was found in D.C. And he said, you know, really it's kind of business as usual. You operate under the budget you have, and it's not like you go around slashing the budget and not spending money. It's business as usual. You may not have the big bucks to go out and say, like the Dodgers did a couple years ago with acquiring Manny Ramirez.
Which I think is interesting because let's say it gets to a point in right down by the trading deadline and the Dodgers are in it. Who do they go to, Major League Baseball, and say, hey, we really would love to add this player. There's a good changeup to get Rodriguez. So good pitches from Leo Nunez.
Yeah, this non-adrenaline outing for Nunez, so far so good. He gets the first 2 outs.
And he's going to face Ryan Domit here.
Ryan Domit coming to the plate. The NBA has a similar situation with the Hornets. The NHL with the Coyotes.
So it's certainly not unheard of. I think the thing that makes this one maybe, I guess, media friendly would be, because the media is all over it, is that it's the Dodgers, a storied franchise.
Ball and a strike. Nunez misses down low.
And if Leo can finish this off, it will once again be a bullpen that did not allow a run tonight, because all 5 runs were charged to Chris Volstad, who stands to pick up the win.
And in an odd way, it'll work out just fine, because it will give Edwin Rodriguez a chance to have everyone in his bullpen get some work going into the Rockies series. That went into right center field. Stanton over to cut it off. And Ryan Domit has a base hit. Of course, you've had 2 7-inning starts of shutout baseball from Josh Johnson and Ricky Nolasco to open up this series. Edward Mujica sucked up the 2 innings last night. Mike Dunn and Brian Sanchez got an inning each on Tuesday night.
Ricky trying to stay loose, get ready for his next start. Those 2 guys.
He may have had whiplash from his excellent adventure around the bases last
those
night.
2 guys were outstanding.
McCutchen takes down low, and it's 1-0. Ricky got high marks from his teammates for his pirouette across the plate.
Teammates love that.
Oh for 8 in this series is McCutchen. There's a lot of offers for the Pirates. There were a lot of offers going into this game. Pirates actually tonight have wrapped out 7 hits. That equals the amount they had the first 2 games combined. And now it's 1-2. One-two coming. Maybe a little too much adrenaline on that.
Yeah, that's all right, though. He aired that one out at 96.
Pirates will head home to face Washington for a 3-game weekend series. The Marlins and the Rockies open tomorrow night. Nunez trying to finish Don't want to get to Overbay. Foul back to the screen. It's still 3-2.
The other fear of a manager when you bring in a closer to get work in a game like this is that he has that 30-35 pitch inning.
Yeah.
And because you know you're going to need him over the weekend.
Another 3-2. 20 pitches for Nunez. Now at 21. Andrew McCutchen, Pirate leadoff man. Just won't go away right now. Drives it to left. Bonifacio towards the line. Makes the catch. Marlins win it. And the Marlins sweep the Pirates. And tonight they do it with the bottom of their order. Brett Hayes with a 3-run homer. Scott Cousins with a grand slam. Mike Stanton with a solo shot. And spectacular bullpen in support of Chris Volstad. We'll wrap it up after this.